You're watching Griffon Sports Insider, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Now, here are your hosts, Brett Easley and Ryan Minley.
Hello and welcome. We're back for another week, and nice to see you're back from suspension or being tied up or whatever you're back from.
I learned my lesson.
Good to see you.
I'll never do that again.
Never. Yeah, shame on you. What were you even suspended for?
I have no clue. Oh. But we do know this. We have a first-place basketball team in the MIAA, Brett Easley.
Granted, they've only played one conference game, but can't win them all unless you win the first one. Missouri Western men tipped off MIAA play in style this past Saturday.
Let's take a look back. Saturday, Griffon men in the MIAA Conference opener taking on the preseason conference favorite Fort Hays State. The Tigers ranked 15th in the nation. This one a back-and-forth battle for 40 minutes and more. Griffon solid in the first half. Darian Jones quick look to Cedric Link Scales. Western up 35-31 at the break. Second half, Hayes goes on a mini run. James Fleming gives the Tigers a 6-point lead with 7 minutes to play, but the Griffon's not going away. Under 2 to play. Ryan Devers, take over, please. Thank you. And 1. Everybody's pumped. Griffon's within 1. Final 30 seconds, they're down 2. Coach Brett Weiberg says, we need to score. Hans Thun obliges, drives and floats it home. We are tied at 67, headed for overtime in the field house, and Thun just getting warmed up. He scored the first 6 points of OT, had 12 for the game. Griffs by 6 in the extra period, but Hayes comes charging back. Jared Tadlock, 3-point play. That'll tie it at 75, but Western doing everything right. Watch the ball movement again. Ryan Devers starts it around the world, and Devers then finishes it for 3. Got it. He scored 18 of his team-high 19 points after the first half. Griffs up 3. Final 2 seconds. Hayes trying to tie it with a prayer. No. Missouri Western hangs on to knock off the 15th-ranked team in the land. 82-79 the final. The Griffons move to 6-3 overall. 1-0 in MIAA play. Hayes now 7-2, 0-2 in the conference. A big win in the conference opener for the first-year head coach and his crew.
I thought we did enough good things to deserve to win it, but we also did enough things poorly that if we got beat, it would have been on us as well. But I am happy for the kids. I think it just gives a little bit of legitimacy to what we're doing.
We were trying to make a statement, come out and play hard. We heard Fort Hays was the media and the coaches had them picked #1 in the polls, and I think it was like 15 or 16 in the nation. So we just want to come out, send a statement to the conference.
We knew we could beat them. We knew we could beat them. They're not a better team than us. I don't believe no team in the conference is better than us. As long as we bring our A game every time we step out on the floor.
I'm Quatrez Colbert, hero right here. Tied it up at the end, made some big baskets, ice in your veins. What you call that?
Man, I don't know. Just trying to be like you, Trez.
Trying to be like me? I think you got that.
Nah, really, like my teammates, they just got me the ball when I was open, and so the rest it was easy from there. Just shoot it.
So that just shows that anybody at Missouri Western can win the game at the end. Anybody can take the shot. Yep. So today it was Hans.
And joining us now, head coach Brett Weiberg. Now you got a week and a half off, and you just come off a win like that. Good thing, bad thing, indifferent thing?
Well,
you want to keep playing, don't you?
Of course, but there's nothing that you can change, and that's just the way our schedule fell this year. And so what we'll try to do is just take advantage of finals week, try to get better, maybe limit our practice time just a little bit, cut down a little bit. Hopefully maximize the time that we're in there, and then also concentrate on finals.
Well, I think you'll find that when teams have success, well, it doesn't matter when they have success, but the ones that are dancing late in the year and postseason are the teams that have good guard play. And I tell you what, Saturday you had very good guard play, and it starts with the guy running the show. Ryan Devers played great.
He did. He played good, and I thought he played well both halves. I just thought he had a complete game. I thought he did a solid job on their point guard, who's also a really good player. So I felt like he did a great job both sides of the ball.
From the quarterback side of the ball for Devers, we've talked about the balance in scoring, which has kind of led to success. It's why you're 6-3 at this point. But that goes back to your point guard, who can score.
Yes.
And maybe sometimes is too unselfish. He took over when he needed to be, but he really does a nice job distributing the ball.
He does. I mean, I think his mentality's right where he's at in terms of the position that he plays. And I totally agree with you, Ryan. I mean, I think that for us to be the best we can be in all aspects, but from a mental aspect, he needs to put the ball in other people's hands sometimes. And but then he also needs to know when we need him to take over, and then that's exactly what he did.
Another guy that I don't know if he necessarily took over, but boy, did he hit some big shots. You got Hans Thun back in your rotation on Saturday. He's a 20-minute-a-game guy, and talking to a lot of people, I said, boy, they miss him. And you know, on paper, you would say, well, golly, how can you miss a 20-minute-a-game guy? But that said, he came in, he had shots in overtime, he had a couple other big shots, and good to have him back, huh?
Very good. You know, we're not very deep at the position he's playing, we're not very deep overall, really, when you look at the big picture of what we're doing. But we have good enough depth, and he just brings depth to that position, and then brings a different offensive matchup in a lot of regards. And like I've said before, you know, we hope on the offensive end that teams have to match up with him and have to worry about matching up with him, because certainly we worry a little bit on the defensive end, him matching up with who he's having to guard. And so. He did a great job, hit a huge shot, and then made 2 big threes in overtime.
You know, more than a month into the season, anything you're pleasantly surprised with? Anything you're pleasantly or unpleasantly disappointed with?
You know, I'm pleasantly surprised with how consistently we've shot the ball. You know, and I knew we had a chance to be a decent shooting team, but you always worry about that. You know, when lights come on, when competition picks up, how are we going to shoot the ball and score the ball? So I'm pleasantly surprised with that. I think defensively we're not where we need to be, and we're working on it. And so from a coaching staff standpoint, we got to continue to work on it and figure out how to get better.
It's a very difficult task anytime you come in your first year in a program, because it's a chemistry experiment. You're bringing in your own guys, you're bringing in new guys, you're coming against guys that are used to a different coaching staff. Guys are buying in, though. And I think that's a testament to what's happening right now. I mean, you're seeing the guys, the returners, and because it's a different style. But just talk about that. Talk about that chemistry right now.
Yeah, you know, chemistry, the more we win, the better our chemistry will be.
Absolutely.
So that's a factor that plays into it. And it has been. I mean, I'd say in a lot of respects, that's been the biggest challenge, is coaching a lot of juniors and seniors. Of course, a couple of them played together. But that's it, you know. So you've got the seniors that were here last year, blending those with the juniors that we brought in. And then we have a freshman that's getting some playing time as well. And maybe down the road, one other freshman that might get some minutes if he keeps working. But just trying to get them to buy in and believe. It's been a process. And they have to continue to sell out. You know, I've told the kids from day one, we can compete with anybody if we play the right way. Sure. You know, and I think they do believe that to a certain extent, and maybe a win like this kind of validates it and helps us maybe take it to the next level.
Well, another thing we're going to take to the next level. We've actually renamed this. You didn't know this, and I know you didn't know this. It used to be called Easley's Tantalizing Trio, but in sticking with the theme of basketball season, we're going to now call this Weiberg's Wit.
Weiberg's Wit.
Weiberg's Wit, right?
You better bring the wit.
I better get a lot wittier than I have been.
No, I think it's been perfect. It's been straight, short, and to the point. So 3 questions, and
you actually answer these questions, unlike our other coaches who just talk and talk. That's
our dessert today is creme brulee.
Oh, great! I love creme brulee.
I know you do.
It's the first time I've actually been okay by that. Yeah.
Brett, I'm going to be point blank with you. Hopefully, this doesn't make you uncomfortable. Something interesting about Brett Weiberg that people may not guess about you. I mean, have you ever swum with the Bulls in Pamplona or anything like that, or?
No.
What would you be doing if you didn't coach basketball? Any idea?
That's the problem. Yeah.
Okay. So
that's the problem. No.
There's nothing interesting about it. Obviously not.
Nothing.
Okay. Well, that's witty, short, sweet, honest, to the point.
You got to get my wife. You got to get my wife on here.
We just might do that at some point. Holiday season. Got to ask you: are you a candy cane guy? You like candy canes?
No.
He hates them. Doesn't like them. No.
Weiberg hates everything. That's what this segment needs to be named. Weiberg.
Boy, I better know the answer to this question.
My son did. He hung the candy canes on the tree. My 5-year-old.
Does he take those
so
off?
So we have literally no, but we have at least a couple dozen candy canes that are all on the lower 3 foot of the tree. So there's candy canes all along the base of the tree.
Because he's short. Because he's short. Small.
And finally, I don't know a person alive that likes these, so either you will or won't. Your answer won't surprise me. Do you like holiday fruitcake?
No.
No. You're probably still getting
I
the
don't
same
even
fruitcake
know what
you
it
got
is.
30 years ago. There you go.
Holiday fruitcake. I don't know what it is.
Grace died 30 years ago.
Golly.
Grace died 30
Yes,
years
she
ago,
did.
Clark.
Yeah, thanks, Clark.
Do you like winning?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We do too.
Yeah. Let's
I like
keep,
winning and yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, they've got a week off, then they're heading to Oklahoma, back to the home
We're
territory.
going to be undefeated through this next week too.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we probably won't lose this week.
Well,
There's at least a chance.
it's a good thing. We'll talk more
Okay.
about
You betcha.
Oklahoma
Okay.
next week.
All
That's
right.
Brett Weiberg. We'll be right back.
Clausen will hold no wind to speak of. The kick is up. It is long enough, and it is good! Greg Zerline from 57 yards away.
Greg Zerline came to me before football season last year. He just had hip surgery. He tore his labrum, which is a piece of cartilage around the hip socket. And in that surgery, they also found out he had a torn quad.
I was still having problems with my leg, and I wasn't kicking the ball as far, and I'd always have pain in my leg after kicking.
No one really found the cause of the injury. They fixed the symptom. But when he came to me, we found out that his left leg, his plant leg, was really unstable. The cause of his right hip quad tear was the fact that he wasn't balanced. So we analyzed his technique and his form, and then we went to work.
Working with Fred, he helped me correct that with some of his exercises, and going to his clinic really helped me, my leg to be fresh after kicking, and after working with him a few times, I could tell the pain would start to go away.
We have that training, that background. We have the facilities with the pool, with our technology to really train people how to perform at the highest levels.
I've done stuff that I've never done at any other physical therapy place, and I've been to a lot of physical therapists, so it helped me, and so I think it'd be a good place to go in the future, and I'll continue to work with him whenever I'm back in town.
1 for 58. High snap. Zerline's first NFL kick is
Train like the pros. He's been a great person to work with, and exemplifies what we're trying to do here.
This GSI Basketball Spotlight brought to you by the Missouri National Guard.
Welcome back. Missouri Western women spending this week off, refocusing and regrouping.
It's been a nightmare last couple weeks for the Griffins. Injuries, defections, and 3 straight losses. The latest coming last Saturday against a very good Fort Hays State team.
Saturday, Santa Claus bringing an MIAA conference opener to the Fieldhouse. Rob Emerson and the Griffin women taking on a very good Fort Hays State team and doing it shorthanded. Starting guard Ariana Novak suffered a severe knee injury earlier in the week in practice, out for the season. This one was hard to watch if you're a Western fan. The Griffins struggling mightily on offense. The Tigers' Kate Lehman, a big reason why, literally swatting shots all over the place. The 6'4" center had 8 blocks on the night. Western just couldn't get many good looks. They shot just 26% from the floor. Lehman, meanwhile, doing damage on the other end as well. She had 24 points, 12 rebounds to go along with those 8 swats. Hayes led from buzzer to buzzer as Western falls 67-53 the final. Griffins have now lost 3 in a row. Not a good week.
Every college team has adversity throughout the season, and your character reflects how you deal with adversity. We didn't deal with it very well today. I'm not a coach that's going to make excuses. We've got plenty of capable people that can step on that floor and play against that caliber team and perform well, and we didn't get it done. You can't highlight too many kids' performances that were excellent in the game in some capacity. We played 12 kids double-digit minutes. 12 kids had opportunities to affect the game in a positive way, and we didn't get it done.
And joining us now, Rob Edmondson. A rough couple weeks, I think, to say the least. You have Denise White leave the team, and then you lose Ariana Novak, who's probably your best player, to a severe knee injury, so she's probably out for the year, or is out for the year. Yeah. And there's no doubt about that. And you've lost 3 in a row. I mean, it's just been a struggle. You guys trying to find yourself a little bit. How do you approach this week with no games?
Well, I think you've got to balance it. Obviously our kids are in finals and they're trying to be successful academically, but yet we still got things we've got to take advantage of and try to get better on the floor. And so I think our kids are eager. It's a good opportunity for us to get on the floor and practice. We don't have a game now for 15 days. And unfortunately, the people we're playing don't either. So it's not like they're playing and we're not. So we got to take advantage of this time to adjust some things, got to tweak some things when you have two capable players no longer a part of your productivity in your lineup, you've got to find some solutions, and that's part of what we'll do over the next week or two is try to find out where do we need to go and what we need to do and what can we do that's going to still keep this team headed in a positive way.
And you try to say, well, you try to block it out or whatever, but people are human. I mean, that affected your group last week.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. Adversity affects grown people like us that we feel like we're mature and can handle adversity at age 50. When you're 19 or 20 years old, adversity is even harder to handle because sometimes they haven't had to deal with a lot of it. And so that's just part of that maturation process of being an athlete, though, is dealing with adversity. It tests your character. It reveals your character. You've heard that adage that the adversity is not going to tell you who you are, but it's going to reveal your character, and that's what we're finding out right now. And that's part of this growing process of being on a team.
With that, you have two that are out, which opens up opportunities for other players, and we know you've got some depth, and you do have some players that can step in those roles, don't you?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, every kid that we've brought here, we had a vision and a purpose for. Now, sometimes you bring kids and they don't quite meet the expectations, but then there's times you bring kids in that all of a sudden become more involved and more productive than you even thought, and so those roles and opportunities are there, and so we throw it out there, and there's an opportunity for kids to increase their minutes and be productive. And the thing I know is I don't know if we have one single player that can take that, but we have a collective group of kids that can fill in and do a capable job. Well, anytime you lose a great player and you lose people at any level, unless you're at the pro level where you go on the waiver wire and bring someone in that's going to help you, that's not going to help us. You've got to take what you've got to develop it, and you've got to have other kids step up and say, okay, here's my opportunity. With every negative, there is a positive. There are kids on our team that have been waiting their turn, waiting their opportunity, and now it's right in front of them, and now what are you going to do with it?
A couple other positives to move on from last Saturday's game. As frustrated as you were on the offensive end, I think you felt okay about your defensive effort, and also you struggled from the foul line. Shot free throws okay as well.
There you go. I did feel like defensively we had a good scout, and our kids did a pretty good job with it. We played well enough defensively that if we hadn't shot so poorly, it would have been a more competitive game. And then we went 23 for 28 from the free throw line, which we've been shooting 49%. But we invested a lot of time shooting free throws over the last week. So we'll just keep investing in all those areas that we're weak, and then eventually, hopefully, they'll run together, and on one of these nights, we'll be good in every phase.
Well, one thing you're not weak in, and that's answering Easley's tantalizing
That's part of the
trio.
show. Here we go.
It is. And,
Out of the box with Rob last year. You
A
changed the name.
mustache.
I must ask you a question. Well, he's still hasn't grown his mustache out.
It's coming back.
Maybe he will. It's winter time. People grow mustaches and beards in the
winter. We
winter.
don't break this losing streak soon.
I expect to see a mustache next week. Stay tuned for that. Rob, this is kind of the winter edition. Our soup's potato today, by the way.
Great.
Potato soup. It's wintertime. It's just potato soup. Rob, snow on the ground. Did you shovel your driveway?
I did.
You been out there to do that? Really?
I did. I got out, shoveled
Wow.
it myself. I've got verification and actual authentic proof.
Verification.
Yes.
Did you sign off on that?
Coach Weiberg drove by and
Oh, he
saw
did?
me. Yep, gave me the
Okay.
head nod.
We actually told him to drive by because he
Gave
knew
me
we
the
were going
head
to ask
nod
you
and
that.
saw me out there doing it.
Wow. Okay. You have a plastic shovel or a metal shovel?
It's plastic.
It's plastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Oklahoma guy, right
I'm
there.
Oklahoma. It's selling.
Completely switching gears. Final BCS poll was announced this past weekend. Everybody knows the matchups. Were you a fan of the BCS? Do you care?
I do care. I
time
love
for it to move
football.
on?
I love football. I'm anxious for it to get into the playoff. I'm anxious to find, where we don't have that debate for who's really the true champion. I'm not a fan of any system for which the best teams don't get to go play at the end. And so we'll see how that works out when they start the playoff. I think it's unfortunate Alabama doesn't get to defend their title. I mean, and how they decide who gets that third spot, second spot. It's all about a computer and all that good stuff. So it is what it is. But I will enjoy college football.
And finally, and we asked Brett Weiberg on the show last week, what does Rob Edmondson want for Christmas? Viewers, here you go.
Better basketball play.
Better basketball play. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah. Can you wrap that up? That's hard to put in a box, but
could wrap it up.
Yeah.
I must ask you a question now. I'm not going to shave it for later, but I'm going to ask you now. Okay. Favorite holiday movie of all time?
Christmas Vacation.
Oh, without a doubt.
Or that's pretty good too.
That's an
but
easy one.
That's an easy one. Christmas Story is a really good one. The little BB gun guy.
I really thought you would go out of the box on that. But
where'd you think I was going?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know where you were going to go.
Yeah.
But I thought, you being a movie connoisseur, I thought you would like Whoopi Goldberg's The Magic of Christmas or something.
Oh, no. I'm Chevy Chase. That's good. And he's the Christmas Vacation. The squirrel jumps out of the Christmas tree and gets him the
Merry Christmas, worth the Tylenol.
Yeah.
We'll get you your invitation to the Jelly of the Month Club. We'll have that for you on the show next
Super.
week.
Like my jelly and toast.
It's a good bonus.
Thanks, guys.
Rob Edmondson.
Merry Christmas.
Talk to you next week.
All right.
Before Christmas.
Well then. Okay.
It's nice. That's nice. Week early, a couple weeks early.
Happy
We'll be right
Hanukkah.
back.
All right, we're ready for week 2 of movement prep. We got to get that engine started. We're going to pick up the speed a little bit. So we got our graph, our speed, our time. We're at week 2. Speed's getting a little faster. This phase of the movement prep is called dynamic flexibility. We need to lengthen those muscles, but we don't want to lengthen them for too long because we don't want to decrease muscle power. Again, we got to activate the nervous system. So here's our dynamic flexibility drills. Guys are going to spread out a little bit. We're going to start with the hamstrings, back of the legs. A lot of hamstring pulls in basketball. We don't want that to happen. These are called 10 soldiers. We're going to do some leg kicks here. Go ahead and get started. Right leg out in front. So it's a quick motion. They're walking down the court and they're getting that hamstring stretch. They're going to do one more on the right, one more on the left. There, now we're going to go to the front of the leg. This is called a quadriceps. They're going to do a butt kick where they pull that foot up, raise the opposite leg to get a little back stretch at the same time. Right leg. They pull up, stretch the back. They're there for no more than 2 seconds. Left side. So it's a real quick stretch. We're going to pick that right leg and put it into a leg cradle. That's going to stretch your butt. Go ahead, guys, right side. You pull that up. Now, as they're doing that, we'll switch to the left. The other side of the body is having to balance. So they have to balance on one leg while they stretch the other side. One more time, guys. A good stretch always incorporates both mobility and stability. So as they're balancing on one leg, they're stretching this side, but they're strengthening. They're using the core to balance on this side. Save the best for last. This is called the world's greatest stretch. These guys are going to go into a right lunge, right elbow to instep. So as they lunge out, they're stretching their groin, their front hips. They're there for only 2 seconds, so they're going to rotate to the right. Now they're getting a stretch through their core and their back and their abdominals. A lot of rotation in basketball. They then go into this track position. They lean back and they get another hamstring stretch on this front leg. Right now they're feeling that stretch through that front leg. He rocks back on his toe. World's greatest stretch. They then prop up into a position and explode the knee to chest. So as their knee to chest, now they got a glute stretch on the back side. They're ready to lunge into the left side now. One more time. Lunge left, instep. 2 seconds, rotate to the left, little twist, rock back onto your front heel now, get that front hamstring, rise up to neutral and explode. There you have it, guys. That is phase 2 of movement prep, dynamic flexibility. Train like the pros at Spine and Sport.
Welcome back. Guess what we don't have to have this week?
What do we not have to have?
Max.
Thank God.
I gave him the flu.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But you give him the flu, you give Bo the flu, you give him.
Guess what's back in his
What
place?
is back?
Role play.
Yeah! All right. Once every 2
3
months.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, Tim. Who do I get to be? What member of the Chiefs do I get to be?
SEC championship.
Yeah.
It's already done. But hey, Brett, Gary Pinkel.
Yes.
You made the SEC
You should have told me I would have worn my vest and visor.
Well, sorry. You made the SEC title game in your 2nd year in the SEC.
Quite an accomplishment.
Defend yourself against the folks that wanted you fired last year.
Well, I'll tell you what. Last year was just, it was a perfect storm. Injuries, new league, adapting to the new league. We didn't have our starting quarterback 5 weeks. We didn't have our starting running back at all. We started the same offensive line group 1 time in 12 games. How do you expect to have continuity at any level, let alone in the SEC, the best football league in the country, according to most? This year it all came together. We had a chip on our shoulder. We're good enough to beat Auburn. We just weren't good enough that day.
You're supposed to just tell everybody to stick it.
Stick it.
You were a national championship contender.
We were a national championship contender. We were good enough to win that title. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Again, 2nd time in 6 years we had that opportunity.
Running out of time, Gary Pinkel.
Gary Pinkel. From Gary Pinkel to another celebrity in this neck of the woods, Ryan Menley.
Where?
You've got more facial hair than this guy does.
A little bit.
You're Carlos Beltran this week.
Carlos Beltran.
You flirted with the Royals. Why didn't you sign with them? You signed with the Yankees. Why did you do that to them?
I was never going to go back to the Royals.
Oh,
it was never
please.
going to happen at any point. I was going to go to a
It's
big
after the
market
money.
team. That's why the Cardinals couldn't re-sign
After
me.
the
I was going
money.
to go to the big market team. I've done enough in my career. I'm going to go to the Yankees.
Go be a DH. You don't need to play the field anymore.
Absolutely not. You know what? You complain about me not signing back with the Royals? You should have signed me 9 years ago instead of trading me for John Buck and Mark Teahan.
That worked
out well.
Boy, that
Howard
did.
Baird.
That did. I was excited about John Buck for about 24 hours.
That's GSI for this week. No sports this week.
What do we do?
We got something Saturday, right?
We absolutely do. It's our Winter Painted Gold Blitz. Come out and see our men's and women's basketball teams. We'll be at Hy-Vee and Chick-fil-A between 11 and 1. Come out, meet the teams. We'll be handing out some tickets, a poster, schedule cards, also promoting our holiday season ticket offer we got going on as well.
We'll be back here next week to talk more basketball and all things.
Ryan's beard will be longer and mustache will be longer as well.
Yes, it will.
Hey, we're Gold this week. Get out and see our teams on Saturday for the Painted Gold Blitz. And as always,
Go Riffs.
Go Riffs.